No, I told you, I'm not gonna sit in that damn chair, man. I'll stand here and talk with the dude. I don't wanna sit in no damn chair, man. What's wrong with that?
The interview with Charles Manson began badly. He would not use the chair we provided, apparently because he didn't want to look up to anyone. He was suspicious. He kept walking around the room in the manner of a caged animal. But the interview began, the first network encounter with Charles Manson in almost 13 years. It follows on this Friday night special edition of Tomorrow, Coast to Coast, right here, right now. Good evening, everybody. On January the 26th of 1971, a jury in Los Angeles, California, convicted Charles Manson on 7 counts of murder. Even the killers said during the trial that the murders were senseless and merciless. Actress Sharon Tate, at the time 8 months pregnant, pleaded for the life of her unborn child. Instead, she was stabbed to death by members of the so-called Charles Manson family. Manson was not present at that time, but he was convicted of ordering the killings. The next night, Manson did lead a raid on the home of Lino and Rosemary LaBianca in Los Angeles. LaBianca was stabbed to death and mutilated. His wife was stabbed 41 times. On the discovery of these crimes in Southern California, a media circus followed. Banner headlines, normally reserved for the outbreak of war, trumpeted every gruesome detail. America read that Manson led the marauding killers, that he held drug and sex orgies at his makeshift ranch, that he commanded others to kill to prove their love and loyalty to him. At the trial, Manson called himself a child of the system, and some said he had satanic powers. Now, 12 years later, at the age of 47, Charles Manson remains in prison, serving a life term at the California Medical Facility at Vacaville. I interviewed Manson last Saturday at the jail. You will see most of that tonight. It has been edited only for purposes of time, and also because the language at times was rough, very rough. Certain words have been taken out. Some people might ask, why run the Charles Manson interview? Well, television is supposed to make all of us look at ourselves. And that responsibility goes beyond picturing all of us as normal and rational people who are suddenly shocked when the time bomb of insanity goes off in our midst. To not run the Charles Manson interview now would be to ignore his perversity and that of others, which now and again disrupts our lives. To ignore it, to pass the interview by, would mean accepting wickedness and insanity in place of dealing with its problems. The Charles Manson interview will probably provoke dismay, possibly fear, even some anger. I hope it provokes some thought. It begins right after this. Tell me about your life here in prison. Do you read newspapers? Do you listen to the radio? Do you watch television? Do you communicate with people on the outside? What goes on for Charles Manson in this prison?
Well, I can feel the grass growing out there on the lawn, and there's a few trees that's got some leaves on it that I can feel. And I've been in jail all my life, so I'm actually right here at home. How long have I been in jail? 34 years? 34 years, so...
Out of 47, you've been here 34.
I've been in jail, prison, a long time, all my life. I was raised up in here. So I understand jail. So I understand myself, and I can deal with that. I sit in my cell, and I do my number, like a convict does his number.
You like jail, don't you?
I don't dislike or like.
Let's go back to 1967, the time you were winding up serving a term of number of years, 10 years. And written accounts indicate that you told the authorities, don't let me out. I can't cope with the outside world. Do you have a recollection of that?
And you make a desperate plea out of something, man. There's no desperate plea out of it. I say, I can't handle the maniacs outside. Let me back in.
I didn't use the word desperate. That's your word, Charles.
Yeah, well, your inflection and your voice tones were implications there.
Well, you use the word maniacs on the outside. How are you different from the maniacs on the outside? And why do you call them maniacs? Because you know something, they think you are one.
Yeah, it would reflect. If you hold the negative up to the light, you don't see the light, you just see the negative. So I'm a reflection of your negative. There's no doubt about that. And I can handle that also. I've been handling, ain't I?
I don't know, have you?
Well, I've been up and down these damn hallways, in and out of these nut wards for the last 10 years. You think you could follow that act?
Don't want to follow that.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into it. But why do you want to get into that?
Well, what crowd,
why do you
what
want
crowd
to
you
handle that
playing
act?
for?
Huh?
I'm playing for my life. You working for money.
What does that mean, you're playing for your life?
I'm working for my life, mister. I'm not playing for money.
What do you mean you're
playing
working
for keeps.
What do you mean you're working for your life?
I'm playing for real.
What does that mean, you're playing for
Well,
real? How are you
That's
playing for
something
your
you
life?
can't buy.
When you say you're playing for your life, am I to
Yeah.
assume that you think that someday you're going to get out of here?
Get out of here. Get out of here. Where would I go now? Let's see.
What would you do if you got out of here?
If I got out of here.
What if they said to you tomorrow morning, Charles, hey, listen, you're free. You can go wherever you want to go. Do whatever you want to do. What would you do?
I'll probably go out front on the grass and sit down.
For how long?
For right now. How long? I could put a track record on it, or I could put a computer on
Come
it
on
and play it
down.
backwards.
No, come on down. Get off computers, get off tracks. If you got out of here, there are a lot of people who think you'd go start killing people again.
Again? Well, you guys are misinformed. I haven't killed anyone.
What about Shay?
What about him?
Well, what about him?
He got killed.
Well, the word is you killed him. Word is
Who?
you stabbed him.
Oh,
What does it feel like to kill somebody,
Word.
Charles?
Word is that you're an old woman. Word is you have turkey in the sky. Word is, I don't know what word is. Somebody else tell you that. I didn't tell you that.
Did you kill Shay?
Hell no.
Did you cut Hinman's ear off?
Hell yes. I did.
How'd that feel when you cut his ear off?
I felt bad
Truth is
about
fun,
it.
though. Isn't the truth fun now when you
Yeah,
can... Okay,
sure,
okay,
sure.
you cut his ear off.
Wait,
What
is
did it
the
feel like?
truth fun? My goodness.
What did it feel like when you cut his ear off?
Huh?
Tell me about it. Come on.
What did it feel like?
Yeah.
Well, I had done what he said for about 20 years. I'd done everything he told me to do. And I got to thinking, now, why don't this guy do something I tell him to do? And he said, no. I said, well, how comes I'm always doing what you tell me to do, but then you never do what I say do? And he said, well, blah, blah, blah. So I said, now you do what I say. And he said, no. I said, you do exactly what I say. And he said, no. I'm telling you. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. You do exactly what I say. And he said, wow, where'd you get that? I said, I got it from my father in prison. He gave it to me. I had a little charm bracelet I used to carry it on when I was about that big.
Skip that for a second.
Yeah.
Why was it so important for him to do what you say? Why do you like having people do what you want them to do? Why do you want to control them, Charles?
Wait a minute. No, I was asked. The dude asked me, says, you my brother? I said, yeah, I'm your brother. He said, how much are you my brother? I said, completely. See, if I'm going to explain it to you, it's not going to be that easy. So you're going to have to bear with me. So, Bobby said, he was a young dude, and he said, I'm your brother. I said, okay.
Bobby?
I'm your brother. Beausoleil. I just got out of prison.
Wait.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, well, then we're gone with that thought.
No, because you're getting on
Then
the...
we'll go to another one, and then you make me look crazy.
No. You can make yourself look crazy, Charles. I
Okay.
can't make you look crazy, and please believe me.
All right. I'll believe you, and I'll
Let
put
me-
it in my left-hand pocket for later.
Let me take you back to you wanting this man, Hinman.
I cut
to
the
do-
dude's ear off
because
he was over Bobby. And Bobby was a youngster and really didn't know what the hell he was doing. And he was a kid, and he never had no man show him nothing, see? So I was telling the boy, I said, the guy, he says, you got my money. I said, go and get the money or leave him alone.
You're taking me to another story.
No, I'm trying to tell you the same thing, and we'll be here for 1,000 years unless you let me finish it.
No. We won't be
Okay.
here for that long at all if you'll just speak to this
Okay.
one point.
I'm
What
at
is
the
it-
point.
what-
Why cut the dude's ear off, man? That's the point.
I didn't ask you that. I said, why was it important to you to make Hinman do what you wanted him to do?
Because
and if
he
one
had a
follows
gun.
your okay, and if one follows your story
Yeah.
through the times on the ranch down
Yeah.
in Southern California, it was important for Charles Manson to be a leader, to have
Oh,
people follow him.
Come on, district attorney. See, you're full of brainwash. That's the district attorney. I'm nobody's leader, and I'm nobody's follower. I got a parole officer, I got a sleeping bag and a guitar, and I'm staying at an old blind man's ranch. And that's about the extent of it. All this occult, All that hocus pocus stuff that you guys are playing, I don't know nothing about all that.
You know nothing about something called Helter Skelter. You know nothing about
Yeah, I know about Helter Skelter. It was a song that some people sang.
And that's all it was.
And some other kids picked it up in their minds. And they said, what do you think Helter Skelter is? I said, well, I get out of the penitentiary in the 50s, and everybody's going thump, 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 and they're walking like that. I get locked back up, I get out in the penitentiary in the 65, and it's going thump, 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 and I get locked up again, and I come out in the 69, it's going thump, 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 singing, wow, man, wow.
Wow, what?
Wow,
Wow, what? Come on, keep
well,
going, keep going, Charles.
I was a beatnik in the 50s before the hippies came along. You know, I cut a rut down through Acapulco, and I smoked Acapulco before you knew what it was. And I lived in the Tombs, and I was in the Cook County Jail in Chicago when you were playing cricket in high school, see? Like you live in another world. I live in street people's world.
Manson had a plot, Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
Manson had a little scheme called creepy crawlers. He'd send people in to move furniture around. Is that all a figment of somebody's imagination so far, or is there any truth to that? Tell me, Charles, I don't know.
It's a fairy. It's worse than a fairy tale.
It's a fairy tale.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy tragedy opera that was played in the early morning.
Come on, Charles.
It was sickening.
Off the space shuttle.
You know,
What?
well, that's what the DA gave you for reality.
Okay.
He stood in the courtroom and said, this man did this and this man did that, and you all believed him. He said, this man did that, and I said, Your Honor, may I speak? And he said, no, you can't speak. I said, Your Honor, I got a voice, let me talk. He said, no, sit down, shut up. Then he handcuffed me, take me to the back, whip my... What are you going to do? I come out and sit down, and I ain't going to get whipped again.
Didn't you stand up in that courtroom?
Sure, I stood
and
up
by
two
the
or
way,
three
by the way, let me just go
I
back.
felt the repercussions in the back of it.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you say the whole thing's a fairy tale. You say the whole thing is make-believe.
Yeah, that's his Helter Skelter. It wasn't mine.
The body of Sharon Tate is make-believe.
That's make-believe.
Make-believe, yeah.
That's make-believe to the people that went in there and did what they did.
And who were those people? You
Those-
know who? You know,
yeah.
but you know who they were.
Sure I know who
They
were.
were with you at the Spahn Ranch. They were part of
Yeah.
this thing called, if not the Manson family or the Manson cult, the Manson Ranch. Call it what you will.
So then, what?
And Tex Watson testified in a court of law that you told him, go to the house that Terry Melcher used to live in and kill those people in a most gruesome way. A man that was once your associate said that of you, and now you sit here and say that's not true, that's all make-believe?
You got a stone wall there. Won't you take it down a little bit? Look here. I'll explain something to you. Tex took the witness stand, and this is record, and he said, I don't know whether I'm Charlie Manson or my mother. Tex didn't have his own mind one way or the other. He was balanced back and forwards because I had already took his mind in another game down the road that I was playing with some Hell's Angels that you don't know nothing about, and you probably never will know nothing about it because you would have to know those people to get in that thought, see? But there's different colors on different people's backs doing different things. It's a different world. I love the world I live in, too, just like Regan loves the world he lives in.
You love the world you live in.
Most assuredly, it's me.
You love all the pain that you've caused people, all the anguish you've
Oh,
caused
I don't
people.
know pain. I don't know pain. I have no depth of pain. I have no depth of suffering. I don't know ridicule. I don't know all the bad things. I haven't been punished by you all my life since I was 10 years old. I've been in every reform school you got across the country and used to lay down and have to get my ass whipped till I couldn't walk. Tell me about some pain.
And that's
Yeah.
our fault. That's all
No,
those people
no
want.
fault. Make strong, good pain. Understand pain. Not bad. Pain's not bad. It's good. It teaches you things. It teaches you things. Like when you put your hand in fire, ow, you know not to do that again. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
But how come you didn't
That's
learn...
the reason I never stick my hand in
Oh,
fire.
but excuse me, you've been putting your hand in the fire since you were a little boy.
I have.
You just told me a couple of
did.
minutes ago that out of 47 years, you've spent 34 of them behind bars. Now, if that isn't keeping putting your hand in the fire,
Yeah.
I don't know what is.
What year was that?
The year is not important. What's important is you just say that you learn by pain not to experience again. Don't put your hand back in the fire.
Yeah.
Why you've been in and out of prisons for the last, for 34 of your 47 years? You call that normal behavior, Charles? Is that something that you're proud of? I mean,
no, never. Well, I never thought I was normal. Never tried to be normal. Normal runs in a little rut down there. I don't know nothing about being normal. I've been in jail all my life, man. I've lived on a handball court. This guy raised me up. All the men in the joint raised me up, told me what to do, what was right and wrong, told me when to sit down, stand up. I just did everything I was told. You know, and I got to the end of it, and I just turned around and said, wow,
All right, now that's hard.
you know. And then I went outside, and all these little kids got a hold of me and said, we want to stop the Vietnam War, and we want to do this. What, it was a war? I don't know what's happening. I've been in jail all my life, man. I never went to vocational. Did you ever see me in vocational training, rehabilitation? Never played no rehabilitation. I sweep the floor in the kitchen, go out and play handball. I'm still 10 years old. Your world, I'm still a kid. I'm not going to grow up. I'm not going to go to college.